Hey there, it's therapy and relaxation. Today we're talking about how grief affects relationships. Let's go! Grief and loss are universal human experiences, touching every individual at some point in their lives. Yet, while we may often consider grief in the context of our private sorrows, its influence extends far beyond our own internal world. The impact of grief reaches outward, shaping and sometimes reshaping the very fabric of our relationships with others. Whether the loss is sudden or expected, whether it comes from death, a significant breakup, or the end of an important chapter in life, grief can alter the pathways of connection between loved ones, friends, and even acquaintances. To understand how grief affects relationships, we must first appreciate the profound changes it instigates within the grieving individual. Loss often brings a flood of emotions: sadness, anger, confusion, guilt, and sometimes even relief. These feelings may surge simultaneously or cycle unpredictably, making it difficult for both the bereaved and those around them to find stable ground. The overwhelming nature of grief can cause a person to withdraw, seeking solitude as a means of processing pain. Alternatively, it may prompt them to reach out, searching for comfort and reassurance in others. Either response can test the resilience and adaptability of the relationships they hold most dear. Close partnerships, such as marriages or long-term romantic relationships, are frequently among the first to feel grief's reverberations. Partners may grieve for the same person or event in very different ways, each employing distinct coping mechanisms. One partner may wish to talk openly about their feelings and memories, while the other may prefer reflection in silence. When grieving processes do not align, misunderstandings and tension can surface. A partner who craves conversation might interpret the other's quietude as emotional distance, while the one needing space may feel overwhelmed by continual discussion. Without clear communication and compassion, the strain of navigating loss together can lead to feelings of isolation, even within the most intimate partnership. However, it is also in shared grief that partnerships can discover new depths. Navigating mourning together, finding ways to support each other amid pain, or even seeking help collectively can lead to profound bonds forged in vulnerability. The willingness to listen, to admit when one feels lost, and to offer patience and presence in the face of another's suffering can build empathy and resilience within the relationship. Many couples find that, after periods of adjustment and honest communication, they emerge from loss with stronger appreciation for one another and renewed commitment to their shared journey. Beyond romantic partnerships, familial relationships are most often deeply affected by grief. Families customarily gather for funerals, memorials, or remembrance, creating collective spaces for sorrow, storytelling, and sometimes conflict. Each family member brings their own relationship to the deceased or to the loss, which can result in differing perspectives on how to mourn or honor the past. Children, for example, may process death with confusion or regression, while adults might feel pressure to hold the family together. Siblings grieving for a shared parent, or parents mourning the loss of a child, may encounter waves of conflicting emotions: jealousy, blame, or even anger at one another for perceived shortcomings in support or grief expression. Family dynamics can further shift as roles change in the wake of loss. The absence of a matriarch or patriarch, for instance, can create a vacuum in leadership or emotional support, compelling surviving members to renegotiate responsibilities and relationships. These efforts can bring kin closer as they work together to rebuild in the wake of sorrow. Yet, unresolved disputes or underlying tensions may also surface, demanding delicate handling if wounds are to be healed rather than deepened. Friendships, too, are subject to the unpredictable currents of grief. Often, friends serve as vital outside support during periods of loss, able to provide comfort unencumbered by familial scripts or expectations. However, even the strongest friendships may falter under the strain of ongoing sadness. Friends who have not experienced significant loss themselves may struggle to comprehend the intensity or duration of grief, unintentionally minimizing a mourner's feelings or urging them to move on before they are ready. Conversely, some may feel helpless or unsure of what to say, leading to withdrawal for fear of saying the wrong thing. Maintaining friendships during grief requires patience from both the grieving person and their friends. Openness about needs, whether it is a desire for company, distraction, or solitude, can help friends provide appropriate support. Likewise, a compassionate friend will recognize that grief is not a linear journey and may involve setbacks or changing moods. For those supporting a grieving friend, the most valuable gift can be consistent presence, a willingness to listen without judgment and understanding when silence is needed more than words. It is also not uncommon for grief to alter one's wider social circles and community involvement. Activities once enjoyed may lose their appeal, and gatherings that once brought joy may now serve as painful reminders of what has been lost. Some individuals find themselves pulling away from group settings, while others may gravitate toward new communities that better understand or mirror their experiences. Support groups, whether formal or informal, can play an essential role, providing a safe environment in which shared stories and camaraderie help lessen the sense of isolation. In professional settings, the effects of grief may appear more subtle, but are no less significant. Concentration may falter, motivation may wane, and emotional volatility may interfere with workplace relationships. Colleagues and supervisors who are mindful of the effects of loss can help by offering flexibility, understanding, and resources such as counseling or leave when necessary. Indeed, the support, or lack thereof, from a workplace community can deeply influence a person's ability to function and heal. One of the most challenging aspects of grief is the way it can lead to feelings of alienation. The grieving person may feel as though nobody quite understands their pain, leading to withdrawal even from those who wish to help. At the same time, loved ones, unsure of how to offer support or worried about intruding, may pull back, unintentionally compounding isolation. It is critical to acknowledge this risk and to remember that, while everyone's grief is personal, it is not unique. Accepting help and expressing vulnerability can be difficult, but they are essential steps in reestablishing connection. Moving through grief, then, becomes not only a process of individual healing, but also a collective act of rebuilding and adapting bonds. Open communication forms the cornerstone of this process. Being able to articulate feelings, needs, and limitations can prevent misunderstandings and foster deeper empathy. For the grieving, it may mean reaching out when the burden feels too great to carry alone, or even simply asking for company in silence. For those offering support, active listening and non-judgmental presence are invaluable. Avoiding platitudes and offering sincere empathy creates space for honest sharing and mutual comfort. In some cases, grief may reveal relationships that are unable or unwilling to adapt. Friends or family members who are dismissive or absent during times of intense need may become less central figures in one's life. This reconfiguration, while painful, is sometimes necessary for healing and growth. Likewise, new relationships can blossom from shared experiences of loss, whether through support groups, creative collaboration, or spiritual communities. Such connections can provide the empathy, understanding, and solidarity that traditional networks may not always supply. It is important to note, too, that grief does not have a time limit. The ripple effects on relationships can last months, years, or even a lifetime. Anniversaries, holidays, and birthdays can reopen wounds thought to be healed, requiring renewed patience and sensitivity from both the bereaved and their communities. Over time, as adaptation occurs, relationships may settle into new rhythms. Some bonds are deepened by adversity and resilience. Others may quietly recede, making room for new sources of comfort and support. Ultimately, grief's impact on relationships underscores a fundamental truth. We are inherently social beings, dependent on connection for healing and meaning. While loss can threaten to unravel the threads that bind us to others, it also offers opportunities for profound growth, understanding, and empathy. By facing sorrow together with honesty, patience, and compassion, we honor both our lost loved ones and the enduring bonds among the living. In recognizing the significance of grief's effect on relationships, we can strive to become more attentive to our own and others' needs during times of loss. Whether as mourners or supporters, we can cultivate openness, patience, and kindness, laying the groundwork for relationships that not only survive loss, but are enriched and transformed by it. Through shared vulnerability and mutual support, we nurture the hope that love and connection can persist, even in the shadow of sorrow. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to subscribe us and check out therapyandrelaxation.com for more. See you tomorrow.